Dun, 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 dun. That, folks, was the best TV show ever. Television programming in America sure has changed a lot over time. In fact, pop culture has too. Back in the day, TV was all about family values. They didn't even show married couples sleeping in the same bed until like the Brady Bunch in the mid-70s. As TV has continued to change, so have our viewing habits. Everybody had an antenna until the late 80s when cable burst onto the scene. Then it was MTV, HBO, and Skinemax all night long. Eventually, many of us made our way to streaming, and now people are cutting the cord and watching all kinds of stuff, like YouTube. Hi! Today we're going to talk about the TV viewing habits of Americans, talk about pop culture in general, and try to determine which states have the worst viewing habits, and which states have the worst taste in television, and in programming in general. Why is this guy staring at me? It's so weird. Anyways, we're probably going to learn a lot about ourselves and get turned on to shows we've never heard of before. So grab your old school TV remote and sit back as we explore America's media consumption habits with a focus on television.
And here it is.
If you're old enough to remember when MTV was a thing, you know how much this cable channel revolutionized everything. It was radio on your TV. Everybody under the age of 20 had MTV pretty much on all day long during the summer. But eventually it wasn't cool anymore, just like most things in life. So the first thing we can do to understand America's viewing habits is to look at age. Like, which of us are watching which types of shows in each age group. First of all, you can see here that the older you get, the more TV you watch. Older folks watch more than 7 hours of programming each day, and younger people watch less than 2 hours each day. That's because they're staring at their phones and playing on TikTok and Instagram all day. On average, we're watching about 4.5 hours of programming every single day. That is for everyone over the age of 18. When you measure regular TV, 78% of us watch primetime TV in the US, and that number is nearly 90% for grandma and grandpa, who likely don't have Netflix and who probably still have a landline at home. Of the youngest population, only 60% still watch regular primetime programming, which is defined by TV shows that are on between 8 and 11 p.m. Now, do we watch the most TV of any other country? Yes, and by far. Poland, Japan, and Brazil also watch a lot of TV. Which country watches the least amount of TV? Probably a country in Africa somewhere. And incidentally, after Qatar, a country in the Middle East, we have the most TVs per 1,000 people. Like, there's almost a TV for every single person. We have 5 in my house. That's so I can stay abreast of the news and inform y'all.
Onto conveyor belts go portions of carefully selected foods, each cooked to within 15 minutes of completion. A new era dawns. Overworked housewives can relax until dinner time and still serve meals prepared by professional chefs. Now, even mother can learn what's going on in the outside world and still feed her family at D hour.
You can see here that the Discovery Channel is the most popular TV network in America right now. What's also encouraging is that National Geographic is the second most popular network, so we're curious to learn. Netflix is third, followed by the History Channel, Animal Planet, PBS, and the Weather Channel's up here too. Watching Hulu is the 15th most popular way to consume programming. ESPN is now the 47th most watched channel, and dropping. People aren't watching sports as much anymore. At least they're not paying to watch sports. That's because sports used to be so much better on TV.
Wilson. Little roller up along first. Behind the bag. It gets through Buckner. Here comes Knight, and the Mets win it.
For those who do watch sports, this map's pretty cool. We can see which states like which sport and how often they watch sports. Like, people in this part of the country watch sports the most, and people out west watch sports the least. Looks like just about everyone except Kentucky, Connecticut, and Vermont watches either football or golf the most. I didn't realize golf was as popular as it is. Why isn't NASCAR more popular in the South? For political channels, Fox News is 49th, CNN is 53rd, and MSNBC is 59th. If you're wondering, like I was, which states watch CNN versus Fox News, well, you can see in 2008, practically the whole nation, except small parts of what looks like Texas and Louisiana, were watching CNN. But look over time. More and more of us are watching Fox News now. Why is that? Now, can we tell which states watch what stuff? There's no exact data on it, but we can tell which states are searching for which shows the most. If you look at which television shows people are Googling the most, you can get a pretty clear indication of the TV viewing habits in those states. Here's a map which shows the shows people are searching for the most in each state. No surprises that California watches a show about Orange County or that Texas watches a show about Dallas. People in New York apparently want to know what it's like in California. Dance Moms? What's that? Apparently it's a show about kids who enter dance competitions and how their helicopter moms get in the way and try to ruin it for the kids. Sounds sad. Why do Ohio and Pennsylvania people like this show so much? Deadliest Catch being the most popular show in Alaska, that makes sense. I can't read the Hawaii one, so you think you can dance, I think it says. People in my state watch Married at First Sight a lot. Somebody in my house watches every single episode. It's a show about putting people in a room and then trying to make them fall in love before they see each other. It's actually not too bad. Anyways, take a look around the map and see which show your state likes to watch the most, and if that makes sense or not. When you measure actual screen time, which of us watches the most TV currently? The Deep South does. This map shows that people in Alabama, Mississippi, and West Virginia watch an average of 3 hours and 38 minutes of just regular TV every single day. Likely The Bachelorette, Fast and Loud, and The Voice. Yuck, yuck, and yuck. Now this might help explain why they have a health and obesity crisis in this part of the country too. People in Utah and Wyoming watch far less TV. They're likely outdoors exercising. After all, these states are also some of the healthiest. So does television time make somebody unhealthy? Well, we do know that studies have shown that kids who stare at screens too much get bad eyes, they get headaches, and they're little brats more often. And overall, too much screen time is linked to obesity, bad sleep, behavioral issues, and, well, just being a jerk. So, less screen time, people. As soon as you're done watching this video, of course. Now, does watching too much TV make us lazy? Or are we lazy because we watch too much TV? Let's pull up an unemployment map and hold it up against a TV watching map. It kind of does match up. The darker states on the left are all sort of the darker states on the right. So is TV making us not want to work? Or are we watching TV because we're not working?
Did you know your TV records your viewing habits?
My TV does, Mappy? I knew my internet search history was tracked, but how does my TV track me? Well, apparently Mappy's right. Every time we set up a new smart TV, we're asked if we agree to things, and we usually just click yes, yes, yes. Well, one of those things is track my viewing habits. So right now, millions of us are watching TV, and somebody in a data center can see exactly what we're watching and when. It's so they can show you more relevant commercials. Kind of like when you see ads for Zips after you've been Googling for new shoes.
Zips are a lot of fun. What you do in Zips almost can't be done.
And apparently it goes the other way too. Your phone might be listening to what you're watching on TV. If you opt in and allow certain apps on your phone to access your mic, your phone could be listening and trying to track what you're watching on TV. And some of that data may be sent to people who, again, will send us more relevant ads. And this guy looks very creepy. Does that bother you? We probably don't have anything to be embarrassed about when it comes to our TV habits, but I bet there's a lot of you out there who would freak if we saw what you were Googling. Actually, let's see, at least on the state level. Okay, so it was kind of hard to find a Google query list for broad search terms that was recent, but there's tons of maps which show what we're all Googling for certain categories. Like this map. This is supposedly the most embarrassing Google query for each state. Alaska wants to know about mail order brides. Arizona must have a lot of people in jail. Butt implants, Georgia, really? Mississippi people like watching twerking. In case you don't know what that is, this is what that is. And no surprises, people in Ohio search for raccoon hunting a lot. That should be their state motto, actually. JK, Ohio. I love you guys. Sorta. Kinda. This is a little old, but it's really funny. These are the questions people Google more than any other state. Wyoming people ask Google, what is Wyoming, more than anyone else? Why would they do that? Kentucky people ask how to make a baby more than anyone else. Kentucky? Really? Come on now. Maybe you guys should tone it down a little bit. Florida people are insecure. Oh, Florida, we don't hate you. We love you. Arkansas is still talking about the Civil War. No surprises there. And people in Missouri. Okay, that's a question only you guys can answer. Kansas people want to learn new things. And apparently Nebraska folks are lonely because they're looking for love on Tinder more than anyone else. Anyways, this is interesting. Maybe we should do a whole video just on what everyone's Googling. What about Netflix? Which states watch which shows? You can see here on this map that 5 years later, Orange is the New Black is still popular in some of the states that are way behind the trends, places like Kansas and Oklahoma and Louisiana. The End of the F***ing World is very popular in many states. It's not about the end of the world. Of course, Ozark is popular in Missouri, where it was based. Age and demographics is important. We can tell which genre people like based on age and which genres people like based on race. You can clearly see that comedy is the most popular genre and that reality TV is the least popular. That makes sense, because reality TV is so lame. Gen X likes comedy the most. Younger people don't like documentaries or reality TV very much, but they do love comedies. But younger people are watching traditional TV far much less often than they once were. I think we said that already. Older people prefer drama the most and like horror the least. Maybe because they're old and don't want to get scared. I don't know. What about race? Like which races watch which genres? Us white folks prefer comedy and action adventure shows the most. The Hispanic population likes to watch food and travel shows the most. The black population likes watching reality shows the most. What about Asians? Why aren't they on here? I'm guessing they want to watch video game shows the most or shows about doctors. Some other interesting statistics. 60% of people say they would rather watch news alone than in a group. Maybe it's because they want to avoid political arguments or they don't want to be around people who don't agree with their political views. And more of us want to watch sports in groups than alone. That makes sense. That way we have group therapy when our teams suck. This is telling. DVD sales and rentals have plummeted by 86% in the last 13 years, as is evident by our growing demand for streaming. Anyways, programming has taken over our lives. The traditional television model's been blown out the door. More and more of us are streaming programs as opposed to sitting down for scheduled programming. But we're all still staring at screens far more than ever. By the time we're 65, the average American will have spent 9 years glued to a screen. And by the time we die, we'll have seen about 2 million commercials. So it's obvious, pop culture and television has taken a hold on Americans and will likely never let it go. We can name our most popular characters from Stranger Things, but we don't even know who our state senators are. People can remember the names of the Three Stooges, but they don't know the names of our Supreme Court justices. And programming is just dumber now. Back in the day, TV challenged the day's social issues. It talked about what plagued Americans and made us think about ourselves in new ways. Programming today doesn't really do that very much. We're kind of being dumbed down by our entertainment. So it's no wonder we're cutting cable and moving on to streaming services at a much higher rate. We can watch what we want and when we want. I just want more stuff from my childhood more. It was so much better back then. I want my MTV. You guys didn't even know I could play keyboard, did you? Look at them yo-yos. That's the way you do it. You play the guitar on the MTV. That ain't working. That's the way you do it. Money for nothing and the chicks for free. I want my MTV. Look at that, look at that. Hey guys, if you learned something new or you just like this video, make sure to like it. And if you really like this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you get all of our videos about what it's like to live in different places in America. Peace.